Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. When it's a Saturday, it's a scandal day. Welcome to Without Your Respect. Without due respect, today I would like to tell my fellow Ghanaians that there's a very specific reason why I am releasing a piece on Saturday. I will tell you the reason later, but for now, I would like every Ghanaian to understand that the NYA boss, the National Youth Authority boss, Emmanuel Sin Nyate Asegri, knows about what I'm going to talk about today. The director of the BNI, he also knows about what I'm going to talk about today. Mr. Kandapa has an idea of what I'm going to discuss today. Former PPA boss, ABAJ, knows about this specific incident. And the sports minister, Isaac Kwame Isiama, also has an idea of what I'm going to discuss today. They've actually known about this since the 14th of June, 2019. All these men I have mentioned have an idea about this. Now, I also want to send out this caution. It's not actually a warning. This caution to the new PPA boss. Chairman, new boss, I would like to tell you that don't dare try to cover up any procurement breaches that's coming from the NYA. Don't dare. Our investigations have shown that you are trying to put something together to defend Asegri of NYA, the acting CEO of NYA. And my very good advice to you, the new boss of PPA, is that don't dare make a mistake. Everything I'm going to talk about today, we have documents, we have videos, we have chats. So don't ever try to cover up for Nyate Asegri, that's the acting CEO of NYA. Now, before I start this, I would like to let everyone understand a little background of the acting CEO of NYA. Now, this gentleman, before this whole thing, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president, actually appointed him. Mr. Asegri was appointed by Nana Addo, and the honest truth is he does not have the minimum qualification to head the NYA. The laws governing NYA says that the occupant needs to have a first degree, at least a degree, to be able to head the NYA. Now, these are the facts. Mr. Asegri, who is the acting CEO of NYA, has an HND diploma. I'll say this again. Mr. Asegri, who is the acting CEO of NYA, the National Youth Authority, does not have a degree. He has an HND diploma. And the funny thing is, he got this diploma from a non-accredited school. You see this? This is a document which was posted by the accreditation board, and it was released on July 9th, 2015. As you can see there, they say 53 fake tertiary institutions were in Ghana. And one of those institutions was Ghanata College of Art and Design. Now, I would like you to take a very close look at Mr. Emmanuel Sin Nyate Asegri's CV. As you can see from the CV, in 2005, he attended the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, and he got a certificate in administration and management. It was a certificate course. So if you look at his CV, you will see that his highest cert is in 1996. His highest cert was in Ghana College of Art and Design. It was a diploma in graphic design. 1996 is when he got this certification. And later, the accreditation board came out to say that this school wasn't accredited to grant anyone certification. So as we speak now, Mr. Asegri, who is the acting CEO of NYA, does not have the right qualification to lead the NYA. I just wanted to give you people an idea of who the CEO is and his background. Now the scandal. So I would like people to take note of the dates. They are very important here because the date makes the difference in the story. Now, On the 11th of February 2019, the acting CEO of NYA, Mr. Asigri, signed with Prevost Limited what the two parties, meaning Mr. Asigri and the CEO of Prevost Limited, consider an MOU. The agreement was to train youth in street light repairs. Basically, that was it. They were supposed to train youth in street light repairs. The acting CEO, who is Mr. Asigri, had informed management of the NYA that, so Mr. Asigri actually informed NYA management that the governing board of the authority, that is the board of NYA, had approved. You have to take your time and listen to these words very well. He told the management of NYA that the board had approved in its programs for the NYA and Prevost Limited to undertake street light repairs training for 500 youths for a period of 30 days at a cost of 4,525,500 Ghana cedis. 4,525,500 Ghana cedis. They were going to train 500 youth for just 30 days, and the amount they were going to spend was 4.525.500 Ghana. Those who think 4.5 new Ghana cedis is not big money, I would like to tell you that when we say 4.525 new Ghana, we're talking about 40.5 billion old Ghana cedis. This is what we're talking about. 40.5 billion old Ghana cedis to train people to install street lights and repair them. 40.5 billion old Ghana cedis. Now, this happened on the 11th of February 2019. 11th. Just 1 month. Just 1 month. A check was issued to the company. Yes, Prevost company. A check was issued to them. A check of 1.8 million Ghana cedis. In old Ghana cedis, that is 10.8 billion. After a month, you have to also understand that the CEO, he did this by not subjecting the whole training program to public bid. He did not open it up for the public to also bid. Just after a month, he paid this company 1.8 million Ghana cedis. In old Ghana cedis, we're talking about 10.8 billion. He paid it to them. And then you can see that, we are not just making things up. This payment actually, it's reflected in the cash book of the NYA. As you can see on the street, that's the cash book. If you look in the cash book of the NYA, you see Prevost Limited advanced mobilization for training 500 youth in street light installation and repairs. And the amount is there. The amount is 1.810.200. And then the reference number is 329071. You can also see it on the bank statement of the NYA. And you can see here, the places marked blue. You can see from the description, it said Chase Check House Clearing Accra. The date is 11/03/2019. That means 11th of March 2019. The check number is 00040329071. Amount paid is 1.810.200 Ghana. 1.8 million Ghana cedis was paid just after 30 days. This gentleman, in his own wisdom, this whole thing didn't go through the board, but he told his management that the board had approved of this. So he paid his friend's company. And I'll talk about these people later. He paid his friend company 1.8 million out of the 4.5 million to start. Don't forget that 1.8 million new Ghana cedis in old Ghana cedis is 10.8 billion. Initially, the whole contract cost 40 billion old Ghana. Now let's move on. On the 28th of March 2019, there was a board meeting. Yes. And the board meeting was about so many things. Now, the people who were in that board meeting, I have the minutes here. If my producer can put it here. These are the minutes of the board meeting. It shows that 28th of March 2019. That was a board meeting. This guy had approved this deal. He told his management that the board had already approved it and that he's been given a green light to pay this company 1.8 million Ghana cedis in the first place. Now there's a board meeting. The people who were in this board meeting are Honorable Francisca Otim-Mensah, is an MP. She is the chairperson. The Honorable Emmanuel Sin-Nyet Asigri, he was at the board meeting as a member. Mr. Joshua Makubu, he was also there. Mr. Dennis Ofusuapia was a member. He was also there. Mrs. Theodora Williams-Antin, Mr. David Dan Kwame Agozo, Miss Agnes Ishon, Mr. Arnold Boateng, the chap who recently resigned from NYA board. He was also at the meeting. Mr. Arnold Boateng, he was at the meeting. Honorable Mustafa Yusuf was there. Miss Vera Redu was there. Mrs. Dorothy Akosia Oni and Mr. Frimpong Kwatin Amenin. These 12 people were all at the board meeting. And a few things came up at the board meeting, yes. A few questions came up. Honestly, Mr. Fosuapia actually raised an issue that he is the co-chair of the committee. He said he wanted to know from the chairperson the new timeline for the committee to submit its report. He further asked the CEO to inform the board the kind of information or supporting document he had concerning the request by the committee. The financial committee had requested for that transaction. They wanted to investigate it because it didn't come on the table or the board did not discuss it. Now, some things came up at this board meeting. Asagri was asked a few questions, and these were some of the questions. Like, they wanted to know the MOU on the streetlight training. The board said they wanted to know and they wanted to see the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding on the streetlight training, meaning they didn't have the MOU. They also wanted to have evidence of the registration of the training center because this Asagri guy had told management that, oh, there's a training center where about 500 people were sitting there every day. They are training them with equipment and all of that. So they are there at the company's warehouse. 500 people. They also asked him, they wanted a breakdown of the cost, the 4.5 million. How did they come by the 4.5 million to give to that company? They also asked at the board meeting the specific motorbike as has been projected by management. Asagri in his statement said that management has decided to purchase some motorbikes and that there was an amount which was going with it. And the board wanted to know how they came by that. And all documentation on the step. That means the training, the provider and all that. So the board showed here that they didn't have an idea of the MOU between the NYA and the company they actually gave 4.5 million. Now, on the 16th of April 2019, something unique happened. The Youth and Sports Minister went to Parliament to meet the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee, and he made some emphatic statements. You know, and when he was speaking, Mr. Asagri, who is the CEO of NYA, was sitting right next to him. Yes, and this is the statement he made. He said, and it's actually a public document. I'm not making this up. It was actually on the 16th of April 2019 in Parliament. And this story was reported by Joseph Opoku Gapu on Joy News. So you can go check your documents. We are not making things up. These are documents which everyone can access. These are some of the statements he made. He said, what I have observed is that we purchase these street lights all the time. But due to lack of maintenance, they go off after a few months. And this development is affecting everyone, including members of parliament and district chief executive. So what we are embracing upon is a project to train young people on how to repair street lights and maintain them across the country. It's Siama reviewed at PAC. Now, when he was making the statement, he knew that Asagri had flouted the rules and given a contract to a company which did not deserve it. He knew that Asagri had paid 1.8 million unlawfully to Prefos Limited. But this minister went in front of Parliament to lie to Parliament. But the reason, the funny thing is, Asagri was sitting next to him. Asagri didn't make any statement. And he knew that the minister was lying to protect him. The minister knows about it. That's why when I was starting this issue, I said, these people I mentioned earlier on, they all know about it. And I'll tell you the reason why. So this sports minister, once again, has shown his dishonesty. This guy goes in front of Parliament to lie to his fellow parliamentarians, to tell them that this contract is legit and that the government is going to implement it, whilst he knows, or he knew, that Asagri had flouted the rules. It never ends there. There's a lot in here. Now, you know, when all this happened, something came up. Asagri actually realized that the board was not in favor of what he was doing. So he quickly wrote to this, my friend, ABAJ. And ABAJ is Asagri's very good friend. Very, very good friend. What he did was, he wrote to ABAJ to tell ABAJ that, ABAJ, I have done this and that and that. And that I want you to give me the green light so that when the board sits again, the board will know that I did the right thing. And you know what he did? I'm going to read that to you. When he wrote to ABAJ who was then the boss of PPA, he said, requesting for ratification of use of the single source procurement method to engage Profos Limited for the training of 500 young people in the areas of streetlight installation, maintenance, and repairs. So he actually wrote to ABAJ on the 27th of May 2019, thinking that would work because ABAJ is his good friend and he had directed him what to do. So he was like, write to me. When you write to me, I will sit on letter and I'll tell the board that the procedure or the process is still ongoing so that you could push your agenda forward. But you know what the board did? The board had other ideas. The board also wrote to the PPA. That time, ABAJ was the CEO of PPA. And this is what the board said. It said, at the board technical committee meeting number 27, 2019, held on Wednesday, 19th June. So you have to understand that the board met all the way in March, and they met again 3 months. So they met on the 19th of June 2019. It's every 3 months. Now, the board noted the content of your request and decided that a team of investigators from the PPA should be assigned to your firm to investigate the circumstances that gave you cause to undertake the procurement activity without prior approval of the PPA to enable us to process your application. If ABAJ was a legit, reasonable person who was occupying this position, what he would have done the first time he received a letter from Asigri, before receiving a letter from the board, he was supposed to ask him, did you go through the right process? Did you make sure that the tendering process was done? Did you make sure that it went through the board? He shouldn't have even entertained Asigri's letter in the first place because he should have told Asigri, you have flouted the law from day one. But you know what ABA did? He kept the letter. And then what happened? Azuri exposed him, so he couldn't live to make this thing work. That's why I was saying that if the new CEO, the new boss of PPA is thinking to protect Asigri in this procurement breaches, he should think twice because we would let him know where he started and where he's ended. I have documents here, recordings, emails, text messages. We have documents, and everything that we're saying here, we have documents to it. We are not just saying anything. So the new PPA board should understand that the initiative or the step he wants to take now by covering up for Asigri, who is the CEO of NYA, he shouldn't dare. Don't dare, boss. Don't. So this is what happened. ABA told Asigri, write to me. When you write to me, I'll just say, oh, the procedure is right. But he couldn't survive that and he left office. But the board had other ideas. That is why you saw that young chap resign from the board, because some people from other places were pressurizing the board to make sure this deal went through. And when I say some people from the Jubilee House, they were pressurizing that this deal went through because they couldn't have taken it back. If you take it back, someone has to go to jail. Simple. Now, it doesn't end there. This is what happens. After all this, did you know that the BNI director knew about all this? The procurement breaches, the lies from management to the board of NYA, the involvement of ABAJ trying to help Asigri by writing a letter to say he's going to bring investigations before the board wrote to ABA to make sure that investigators come into this. The BNI director knew. Somebody petitioned the BNI director. Yeah, a citizen of Ghana petitioned the BNI director on the 14th of June 2019. 14th of June 2019. And they held on to this letter. In fact, Kandapa told the BNI director that that letter should be blocked. No investigation should be conducted. The sports minister was CC'd in the petition. Yes, the sports minister was CC'd. ABA was CC'd. The list goes on. Kandapa was CC'd. PPA boss, that's ABAJ, he was also CC'd. The sports minister was CC'd. Asigri himself was CC'd in the petition. And the petition was simple. The petitioner said that, BNI, Mr. Investigator, go in there. This is what I have detected. I have evidence. I have documents. There is a breach of procurement law, and that you have to make sure the culprits are apprehended, prosecuted, and jailed. But the BNI board said no, because Mr. Kandapa said no. This is the kind of Ghana we are managing today. 4.5 million Ghana cedis has been paid to a company. As we speak now, they already took 1.8 million. And from that time, from February till now, tomorrow is the 1st of September. Nobody has said anything. And they are gradually paying this money to this company without going through the due process. And when you speak about these things, you get some ignorant people who come to attack you and say, oh, you can't speak English because what you are saying doesn't make sense. You cannot speak English. Stupidity. The message is what is important. What we are doing here is not to please anybody. What we are doing here is to make sure that our country is saved from criminals who have been given positions. It doesn't end there. Now, I have a person here. That person is the BNI officer who is handling this case. Because when the petition was taken to BNI, an officer was given that assignment to handle it. So I'm going to put the officer's name out because I know these people, they are liars. They'll come around, come lie to people. I'm going to put the officer's name out. I'm going to put the officer's phone number out. And I'll expect Ghanaians to call this officer and ask him, Mr. Officer, is it true that you are the one handling this case? And why haven't you moved forward? What's the status of the investigation? The officer's name is Mr. Danso. He's at the BNI office. Mr. Danso. His phone number is 0244-974051. The officer's name is Mr. Danso. His phone number is 0244-974051. Every concerned citizen can call this officer and say, Mr. Officer, we heard and we have fact that you are handling this case and it's on record. Do you know anything about this case and what is the status? Ladies and gentlemen, I have always been saying, let's focus. Let's focus and we will get the last cent. I've always said that I am finishing the work Martin Amidu couldn't finish. He started with his own party, the NDC, started talking about corruption. He didn't finish. I am also starting with my own party, the NPP, and I'm going to make sure that I complete the questioning. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, and this is With All Due Respect.